There we go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Mindset Matters. I'm Kathy Reneses. I'm an executive well-being coach and business owner, and I'm with Rob Pengson, chef and educator, as well as our other friend, Rika Hernandez, yogi and content creator. Good evening, guys. Kamusta?
Hi everyone. Doing
Hello,
good, doing
everybody.
good.
Nice to see you, ladies.
Nice to see
Nice
you
to see
too.
you. It's been a
Nice to be
long,
chatting again.
week.
It's
Yeah.
been a long week.
It's been a really long week.
Oh
So
my
yeah, like
gosh.
what have you guys been doing this week? Like we're back to MECQ. Tama ba? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sobra.
it's no fun for everyone. How are you guys coping?
Well, I am doing fine, thankfully. Just the vibe is you just put your head down and you just get to work and outlast as long as you
Yeah.
can, and do your part by being kind to one another, embracing the people that you
Sure.
love that are still around you. Just doing the little stuff, I think, is big nowadays. And I'm just grateful that my health is fine, my mom's fine, and my two boys are good. And we've got food and Wi Fi. So thank you, Lord.
For sure. Yeah, like health is really everything nowadays, no?
It's
How
That's
about
great.
everything.
Well, for me, kids-wise, we're doing good, no? Relationship with my kids are great. My youngest has posted his first video on YouTube. He aspires
yeah.
to be a YouTuber,
Congrats.
and it's about Minecraft and his love for gaming. However, the business has been hard, no? Because especially now that parang approaching MECQ, parang what we've been seeing in terms of sales is when they announced that MECQ is going to happen, our sales, which was already low, kind of
Mm.
got half again. Because I guess
Oh wow.
consumers are, well, they're kind of afraid that, it's uncertain what's up with the government. 6 months ago, they said 6 months today we would be good, diba?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Exactly.
So it's pretty tough. And then I have to talk with my landlord, but
Mm.
the last time we spoke, he was not very open to the whole concessions with the rent. But
Yeah.
then I'll try to talk to him again. Diba? I'm not losing hope, but I gotta do what I gotta do. But no, it's been tough. It's been tough. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna pretend. I'm not gonna pretend like I got a grip on things because no one does. I think
Mm.
it's been tough,
Like
but
is their staff like complete pa din? Like are they still like coming into work or have you had to like
well, we've already
rotate?
our staff has already been shrunk to like 20%, 25%.
Yeah.
And like I said, no, when the MECQ was announced, it's like there's people just stopped ordering and spending again.
Mm.
Uh, it's tough, diba? And then the rent is a very heavy burden to pay in this economy.
Oh,
Right.
for
I
sure.
really don't know what the plan of the landlords are, diba? Because if they kick
Mm.
people out, it's not like people are gonna rush in to rent the place. Diba?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So I guess like
yeah,
how can you make it like win-win for everybody? I guess.
yeah. But the better part of the week is seeing you ladies, so I'm happy to be here.
Oh, thanks, Rob. Always
Yeah.
nice to be able to chat with you. For me, naman, it's kind of been, I don't know, it's kind of been the same just because I really haven't been going out in general. But just the negativity on social media, which is where I do most of my work for the past couple of days, has been medyo OA. Like there's always something to complain about. I was telling Rika earlier, like the highlight of my week was that ostrich.
That was the
Yeah,
Ostrich.
best.
it
Wala.
was just no.
I think right now like that's everybody's spirit animal.
Yes.
Freedom that an ostrich has, right? And then yeah, like I've been trying my best to kind of like figure out how I can turn it around and just influence at least in my community. So I'm doing like a MECQ kindness challenge wherein like just do at least 3 random acts of kindness for the next 14 days. Help somebody
Really?
out for
Come
the
on,
sake of
dude.
it,
I know. I mean, humanity should be able to manage 3 random acts of kindness in 14 days.
right? But
Diba?
you'll be
Oh,
surprised. So I kind of want to start that, like like show people what you're doing, just so like matabunan, like all this negative
Right.
BS that's like
I
happening
know.
on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Madaming nega dyan eh.
Yeah.
Oh
So
Oh,
so
let's
that's
avoid. Let's avoid
For
the nega one. Well, you can't
I think
avoid them.
can't really. You
They're
just
everywhere. They're just
just
everywhere.
detach. It's not your problem.
Their
You know,
friends, their
so
family, their colleagues, diba? And their
like,
your social media connections.
yeah, and then they're really attached to what's going on in the world. So kanya-kanyang
And then the
journey
whole
lang
thing
yan.
in Lebanon, Beirut, the explosions, my gosh.
Oh,
Did you
grabe.
hear
Oh,
about
that
I have
that?
a
was
friend that was
grabe.
just there.
Did you
Oh
see
my
that?
god.
The
Grabe.
videos? It's like a mini nuclear bomb, diba? The mushroom
Yeah,
cloud.
and that was all
That's crazy.
fireworks. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
it looked like a weapon of mass destruction, but
Yeah, parang feeling ko it's like fireworks and gas lines combined. I
yeah,
don't know, dude.
exactly.
Stick
There
Near
was a
together.
port.
chemical there that was left for 6 years unattended to.
Oh,
So
that's crazy.
yeah. And then with
So
the
yeah.
fireworks pa. So fireworks plus that.
Oh, yun.
Mm.
Sorry, baka that's a nice way to start our conversation. The
Yeah. So let's
dangerous, the
pivot back to
dangerous
something
things,
interesting.
diba? The dangerous things we leave unattended. Sweep it under the rug, and later on
Yeah.
it explodes.
Oh,
Does,
nice.
Always that
do you
Yeah.
we
know
have
what
a lot of that
does everyone know what I'm talking about?
for sure.
I
For
do.
Diba?
sure. Which kind of
Diba?
leads into like our topic, right, for today, which is super interesting, at least for me, which
Mm.
is like relationships and how we manage them, especially the romantic ones, because I know that it trips a lot of us up, right? So I'm just curious, you guys. I'll start with Rika. Rika, what do you find attractive in a partner?
Oh my goodness. Man, I hope you guys are watching. I
We're
hope you
watching.
boys are
We're
watching.
watching.
Okay.
Who is it that you're hoping will be watching,
We're
Rika?
watching. We're
I
watching.
don't know. Well, okay, this is what I find highly attractive in a man. First
Mm.
of all, do we do like the babaw things first or the deep
Oh, it's up to
things?
you.
Whatever
Wala
you want
lang.
to
Kahit
start
ano,
with.
anything goes.
Well, obviously, the first thing that catches my eye, of course, my eyes are how the guy looks, diba? My type is the kind of boyish, bad boy kind of type. But aside from
Mm.
that, that doesn't really matter once you get to know the person, right? What
Mm.
Yeah.
attracts me is being able to have a deep conversation with the person. I know that sounds really corny and cheesy, but
No,
wala
it's not.
talaga eh. It's really
No, that matters.
something.
Like you need to figure out if your values align, right?
Exactly. And I love talking to even women about that. So obviously, if I were to be speaking to a guy, a man, what attracts me is like simple maturity. It's like I've raised two teenagers, and so I've raised them to be men. I don't want to, I know how it feels like to be speaking to a little boy trapped in a
Man's
old
body.
Man,
man's body.
there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them walking around there. Huh? There's a lot of them.
There
Oh yeah,
are.
they're just everywhere. So
Uh,
and it goes two ways because there are also females that are walking around the same, immature little girls stuck in like women's bodies.
they're
So
still they're still they're still stuck in their prom queen days.
exactly,
Mm.
it's like
Diba?
entitled princesses. So right
Patay
now
ka pa.
that's what attracts me. It's the conversations really. So
Oo.
yeah,
Pero importante naman talaga yung like the first attraction really is physical, diba? Because
of course. I
you gotta
mean,
attract. But if I may, if I can give a chance to all the men out there listening, it's not naman about being like Erwan Yusuf Kagwapuhan, diba? It's about being
Presentable. Like somebody
yeah,
you
no,
can
it's
you
about
can
being
like, introduce
siguro
to your
it's about
friends
being
and
like
yeah.
comfortable in your own skin. You know what I mean?
yes,
And that
yeah.
exudes confidence. You don't have to have the abs of Nico Bolzico.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So by physical
Triggered
attraction,
Jerome.
it's actually really the confidence.
I agree. In
Yeah.
Bisaya, we call that kumpiyansa. Kumpiyansa lang yun eh.
Bisaya
Right.
ka ba?
Bisaya man! Bacolod!
Bisaya! Oh my gosh,
Oh.
oo
Bacolod!
nga.
Ilonggo!
Pinsan
Ilonggo!
mo nga pala si Marco. Tama.
Yeah.
Oh, ayun.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm kind of
kayo.
yes, deep conversation with the guys.
Hi, B.
Maybe.
What about you, Rob? What do you find attractive in a partner?
Sorry, pakiulit.
I was asking, so over to you, like what do you find attractive in a partner?
Well, I think I would say same, dude. It's similar because the whole physical attraction. It's not the man about, dude. It's really not about the
The
super. You
abs.
don't have to be super sexy, super pretty, like you're a Victoria's Secret model for men. Not at all. I think in my generation we had this term. No, it's called bootylicious, and
Mm,
it's not a look. It's a way that you carry yourself. That you're very comfortable with yourself. You're
mm,
aware. Self-esteem, diba? The woman is
yeah.
aware of how she's beautiful and how she's unique. She doesn't need to
Mm,
flaunt it. And I think that's what's attractive in the initial. But, same thing like Rika, puta na akong tatanga-tanga yung babaeng yan. My
Oo
gosh.
nga.
oh
What
my
I'll
god.
for?
pass. I'll pass. I'll pass. Siguro yung ibang guy. Madaming guys yun na mababaw eh. But you know what? If you got a guy with half a brain, you cannot be
Yeah,
tatanga-tanga talaga, di ba? You have to have direction in your life. You have to have
for
some
sure.
ambition, whether it's to raise good kids, build a career, or help an
Mm,
NGO. You have to have something that drives you, and that's the sexy part.
for sure. Yeah, I
Totally.
agree.
Totally
I
sexy.
agree.
Guys, listen up.
Yeah. For me
Sige,
personally,
I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes.
like personally, I find kindness sexy. Like I
Mm.
know it's kind of cheesy, but like alam mo yun, like you meet a guy and you can see that he just, like he goes out of his way just because, like, there's no need to look good, there's no need to parang to prove anything. Like if that's just how he is, like for me, I find that like super sexy.
But isn't
Um
there like a line between kindness and being a pushover? You don't want the man
well,
to push over.
like you need boundaries, but like for me, just being able to kind of see that guy who is who can just be nice for the sake of being nice, and no need for yabang. um I also think like I like funny guys a lot. Like if we were in a room with a lot of people, I would probably gravitate towards the funniest guy in the room, just because like
Mm-hmm.
I like the banter. You know what I mean? Like if he can make me laugh and if he can make me smile, like that's definitely like a plus. And I always say like somebody with ambition. Alam mo yun, ang daming lalaki dyan na they just like they're just happy kind of living off mom and dad. And it's fine for a lot of other women, but I don't think that would cut it for me. I need somebody who can grow with me, right? Like somebody who, I think I told Rob this one, somebody who like inspires me to wake up in the morning and like be a better person because this is my partner.
Tama,
You
yan
know,
yun.
That's
like
And
so
for me,
vice
like,
hot.
versa. Pero vice
right? Like
versa.
where are you?
Where are
But
you?
vice
Guys, I
versa.
want that too.
Yes, but ladies, no, vice versa din yan.
Sure, yeah, definitely.
You cannot expect a guy like that to just go for some girl with nothing in her head. Diba?
Mm,
Puro IG, TikTok, side boob, bikini.
yeah.
Diba?
which
Ano
is
yun na?
Side
which
boob.
is why I think, like, at least for me and Rika, which is why I think this is why like me and Rika work so hard on our self-awareness and just
Oh,
growth and learning, right? So just in case he comes along, we're prepared.
on.
That's why I think well I learned this from somewhere else, no, but the perfect person doesn't exist. You have to
For
attract that
sure.
person by becoming the person that the person you want would probably look at. So
I
Yeah,
if
agree.
yeah,
That's
so
great.
exactly.
I
That's
want to
perfect.
be a great person to talk to. I want to be like a great person to hang out with. So I'm working on that myself. Like you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want, what is your word, Rob? Sapiosexual.
Hindi
If
ko
you're
word
looking
yun,
for
ah. My gosh. Tangina.
if you're looking for a sapiosexual, but you're not intelligent, like what's the point?
Yeah, hello.
what's the point?
You
I
have
know, I know.
nothing to contribute to the
Baka nabasa
conversation.
lang yung words sa online and then they're like, "Oy, this is a cool world. I'm sapiosexual." Ulul.
Super short-lived ang
Oh, di
happiness
ba?
when the person is hot. It's such a disappointment, no, when the person is just hot and then the moment like he or she
Walang
opens
laman.
her mouth, walang laman yung brain.
Oh, wala, vice versa
Disappointing.
yan. Men and women. Men and women.
Manolo Blanquera says, "Hey, I'm here, but I'm too old for you all. Maybe in the next life."
Pare, wala yan. Sure. Don't ever say that. Age is just a
Maybe.
number. With age comes wisdom.
Bianca says super harsh on that tanga. I want to mention someone here. Like, girls went crazy over him, and when he started to speak up, OMG. Oh, I know how you feel. I've been in that position before. Like super hot, but then he opens his mouth, and you're like, why?
Yeah, just be hot and go
Yeah,
away.
yeah. And I think no, I'll approach this. Maybe I'm not the best person to talk about relationship advice. I'm separated, heading to annulment. That's for another
Which is perfect.
story.
You have all that
Yeah,
Same.
experience.
but sometimes when you fail at something, you have the best lessons to give. No, so
Exactly. Yeah.
so this concept of relationships for me is very different from siguro you girls, because I tend to approach it as a dad. Like, how do I prepare my kids for the dating scene? How do I prepare
Mm,
them for finding the right woman? How do I prepare them for, hopefully, when they're married, to be the right husband and dad? Dude, that's tough. That's tough.
yeah.
And those are the things that occupy my mind, especially now with its MCQ and there's nothing to do. So it's super hard
Mm,
stuff. But this episode, let's let it all hang loose.
yeah, definitely. I think the more we share, we have tons of experience between us three, and
Yeah.
we're all single, so we're all working on
Patay,
our
single na
relationship
tayo.
one
Bakit mo
one
sinabi
level.
yun? Sige, sige, sige. Tama.
Yeah, but no, but before we start this, I just want to kind of preface, before we really go into this topic, that, talking about relationships, I guess I could speak for the three of us, is a topic that makes us uncomfortable, I guess. For me personally, like, I'm pretty much an open book, but I'm very protective of my private life, especially my dating life. And I as my two friends, as I'd imagine. So sharing the bits and pieces of our experiences is a whole level of vulnerable for all three of us.
Hmm.
But yeah, like Rob said, we know that there are like so many aha moments for you guys that's hidden underneath all of what each of us went through. So all I kind of ask before we kind of continue is just to please be mindful about that. Like, please don't try asking these invasive questions. We are human beings at the end of this, at the other ends of the screen. um yeah, you were saying, Rob?
No, I said yes, I am agreeing with you.
Right, so just want to get
Oh,
into relationships and like just what relationships are. We'll get into the romantic, like the juicy stuff later on, so you
tara.
guys have to hang on for that. But as human beings, and how I kind of explain like relationships as a coach, which is ironic. I get a lot of people who come to me with relationship problems, and I'm like, I've been single for like 8 years. So just the irony in that. But as human beings, relationships are very fundamental to who we are. We know that relationships can be either a big source of happiness for us, kind of like how us three love coming together every Wednesday and just kind of do this, right? But it can also be like a major source of stress.
Yeah.
Um, right? So like my kind of
Toxic.
question to
Toxic, diba?
everyone is why do we find relationships to be so hard? Like, what is
Maganda yan.
what is your major relationship struggle, like in general, not just romantically, but in general? Because how you do one thing in life is how you do everything else, so it all kind of
True,
connects.
true, true. True, true.
Who
Ladies
wants to
first?
start?
Ladies
Hmm.
first, you want?
Cat should start.
Me? Okay, sure.
Okay.
I'll go
Major
next.
struggle. Okay.
Yes, yes,
I
yes,
think
sir, Manolo. I mean, the total person of a person. It's not the actual booty itself. Sorry, I just had to explain. No? It's basically
It,
you're confident with what you have, but you're not boastful. You have humility and kindness, but you're undaunted with what the world throws at you.
yeah.
Diba? Naks. And I think
Yes.
that for me is bootylicious.
Ay, nako, Rob, you and your terms. Anyways, again, going back to
Grr,
struggles.
grr.
I think I think for me, like what I struggle with, ironically, and stop that. What I struggle with relationships for me is a lot of trust. Ironically, kind of like as a coach, like I've been taught to share my story with other people. To the more I share about myself, the more comfortable they are with me. But when it comes to my personal circle, I'm very picky when it comes to the friends that I let in and the people that I consider my tribe. So, like I consider you two to be part of my tribe, and a couple of other folks, but it's very, very small. And I think that translates as well to like my actual like romantic relationships and dating. It takes a while for me to open up. And like I love to ask all the questions, but I don't like being the one giving all the answers, if that makes sense, until I kind of develop like a level of trust with that person.
So it's
True.
trust issues for you.
Trust issues, yeah. Like I think I shared it with you too. Like like I was cheated on in my last relationship, and I used to
Well, we
come
all
at
were. I don't know.
relationships. What?
It all happens, I think, at one point in our lives.
Yeah, for sure. But then like for me, kasi like how I kind of approached relationships before that was like I trust you 100%, right? And then ikaw na bahala, and then like nababawasan na lang siya as time kind of goes on. But
Okay.
after that, I tended to become a lot more guarded. And
Mhm.
that really affected me. Like, I would go out with someone and my initial thought would be like, would he cheat on me?
Ay,
You know,
patay.
Patay.
right?
Pwede yan.
Before getting to
Pwede
know
And
the
and
yan.
person.
Bawal
exactly.
yan.
And
Bawal
that is
yan.
like a
Bawal.
setup to fail, right? So
Yes.
I
Yeah.
have these past couple of years, I have been trying my best to approach relationships with, yeah, a more open mind and just trusting the process. So far, it hasn't gotten me anywhere. So, what about Europe?
Well, I know what you mean, no? But
Mm,
Rob.
yep. I'm right here. I'm just trying to gather my words.
okay.
I know what you mean, and
Should I go?
I think no. If I can just very start at the very beginning.
Mm.
I think
Hello.
no. If you're gonna,
Sorry,
I
I had to
believe
reconnect my thing.
it's all right. If you're gonna get into a
Is it me?
relationship, no, nothing. Oh no, me. It's me.
Rob, that's
I
Rob.
can't.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't hear
It's
Rob.
me. You can't hear me? Can you hear me,
I can
Kathy?
hear you fine. I think it's her computer.
Sige. Okay, so I'll
Oh,
start
Alright.
now. And this is something I would tell my younger self,
Mm.
something I'd happily tell my kids. Before you get into any relationship, uh, you have to know yourself first, and that includes your strengths and your
Mm.
weaknesses. Because no, you have to get into something. A relationship is two forces working together. No one is perfect.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have this idea, and it's ingrained by our parents, or our parents. It's like sometimes now, oh, you're special no matter what. That's not true.
Mm.
That's not true. You can make mistakes. You can be a jerk. As a if you're a guy, you can be a jerk. If you're a woman, you can be a bitch.
Mm.
What's important is you have to be aware that there are good sides of you that are productive, that build other people up, but there are also this negative side of everybody.
Yeah.
There's your ego. You're very it's very human nature to want to think you're the best, the most good looking, the best in sport, the best like this, whatever,
Yeah.
dude. You got the biggest banana or whatever, dude. It doesn't really work. It doesn't work that way. And
Mm.
if I could give a message to my younger self, my children, or even the younger people out there, or even the older people, you gotta center yourself on good ground.
Yeah.
It's good grounding, diba? It's building proper self-esteem. Take care of your health. Take care of your thoughts. Because if you're a toxic person to begin with, no matter what kind of woman you end up with or what kind of partner you end up with, it's gonna become toxic. You
Mm.
can
For
you
sure.
can make a pleasant person toxic if you're a toxic piece of shit,
That's
diba?
true.
If you're a pushover, you will quickly bend to whatever mold other people will put on you, and that's
Yeah.
also not good. So you have to be very centered in a way and aware of this positive and negative side in everybody. And if it's in you, stand up for your positive side and fix your negative side. If it's in your partner, don't put up with their negativity, but don't destroy them because of it.
Yeah. Just call them out
Listen,
on it. Yeah.
yeah, listen, call them out,
Yeah.
listen, have patience, and allow them on their own journey to fix their shit. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that's my insight on how to start a good relationship.
For
Done.
sure. I'll get into that a
Wow.
bit later. Thanks, Rob. What about you, Rika?
Agree ka
That's
ba dun?
awesome, Rob.
Ay,
Awesome.
thank you.
Okay, well, relationship issues and struggles. Well, um, just a quick background. I have been married already for 15 years and yes, heading towards annulment as well.
Oh, wow,
And
15.
high five, Rob. Pack.
I feel left
So,
out.
Okay, get
so
married. Get married.
get married. Yeah, welcome to the club after. So it's like it's my issues and the things that I've learned was with the same person. So it's not like I was hopping around and getting to know a whole bunch of people and figuring out the different things. You actually can learn a lot just through one person, through one relationship. And my struggles have, I wouldn't say always because this is changing as we speak, but it's the fact that the more I got to know myself as an individual, the more I
Mm,
realized that, and it's also part of like the romanticism. I have this thing wherein I see people for their potential. It can be a crutch, it can be a bad thing because you gotta see the person for who and what they are at the present moment, right? Because this idea that, oh my god, this person can be really great, fantastic, you could be awesome and amazing together, that is not going
yeah.
to happen or materialize unless you and the person are both aligned, right? And the
Mm,
more I discover my core values and the more I discover like another person's core values, sometimes you think, you know what, because I personally feel that I'm super open to change. I believe that people can change if they are first of all aware that they have something
mm,
that needs to be changed. Like I don't believe that oh, nobody changes and you can't change a person. You can't change a person. It's going to be very hard psychologically, but if the person acknowledges that there's
yeah.
something to change, anything and everything is possible. Then
Yeah.
you gotta be a complete individual before you get together with another complete individual, because I don't believe
For
that
sure.
somebody else should complete you. You should be complete and then you find
Mm.
somebody else complete as well. So
Yeah, I
that's
hate
what
Yeah.
that. I hate the whole
I
you
hate
complete
that.
thing.
I hate what's his name?
Jerry
Yeah,
Maguire.
yeah, that guy. He ruined
Okay.
everything. So that's something I struggle with because
Mm,
seeing something so beautiful in others, yet they don't see it for themselves. They don't see the
uh-huh.
potential in themselves. So, what more? The idea of you guys having a strong, epic relationship, because I want
Mm,
that for my life. I want like an epic
yeah.
relationship. So yeah, and what else? Because I am I love working. I love being productive. That's like my masculine side just coming out. I think sometimes I struggle with just taking a step back and being like the woman, being like the feminine
Mm,
person, and just like, you know what, man, you do the thing. You do all this stuff. I'll just watch, kind of thing. But um, I guess sometimes like in my relationships, like with my ex husband, like I feel like I have to show off and compete sometimes like oh, I did this, I did that, because
yeah.
it's a value for me. And
Mm-mm.
siguro as a guy and understanding, like I need to understand also the psychology of a man and whatever, that it might be intimidating for him. So that's what I'm learning, to kind of just
Mm,
see things both ways, as we are made very uniquely and differently as male and female.
yeah. That's
So
Yeah.
interesting. from a coaching point of view, what I'm kind of hearing from you is that you're kind of a fixer. Like you look at somebody and you're like, I like you, but you can be better if you kind of do this, 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 and this. And then
Yeah.
let me guide you, towards what my ideal vision of you is. And
That's why
then
I'm a teacher, and it's like it's
but it
innate
doesn't work
in
if he
me.
doesn't want to. That's
It
the
doesn't
thing, though.
work.
And then like I kind of realized like your receiving love language seems to be affirmation, because that's what like you were really looking for in with your ex, like for him to just affirm like how amazing you were, and how good you are, but he never gave that to you.
Yeah, and as a woman, like women need to be seen. That's just part of our genetic makeup. We want to be seen. We want to be affirmed. We want to be told that we are valuable in your eyes. I mean, I think that's
For
just a
sure.
natural thing for a girl, and
But mm,
I feel like
yeah, no, but
men. It's something
yeah.
that men can learn.
Definitely, but also if you're gonna get into the psychology of men versus women, as women, kasi, we're naturally pretty vocal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we tell men what we want when we want it, exactly what time. These are the details. Do you want me to draw you a map? But within and that's how we express ourselves. That's how we express love. For men, it's different. The way that most men express love is by being able to provide. So, there are a lot of men out there who are like in their late 30s, 40s, they're still single. And when I ask them, so like, what's been stopping you? You've been in this long-term relationship for so long. Their answer is always, I don't think I'm making enough to provide. Or I don't think I'm making, I need to hit this amount before I can confidently say that, I can take care of this woman that I love. Does
Right.
that make sense? Well, you're the only guy in this conversation, so.
Yeah, it does, and I think I fell in the. That's a trap, though. I fell into that thinking too, and it provides pressure to
Mm,
the man. It can give strife in the relationship with the woman.
mm,
It's tough. I think throughout history, kasi the man has been the provider,
yeah,
and in
that's
the
what men.
last, dude, I'm
Yeah.
talking about. I'm a history. I love history, So in the last 40 to 50 years, no, 30 to 40 years only. 30 to 40 years long, 50 years. If you think about it in the history of mankind, no? It
Mm,
has changed. Parang now people need two-income households, diba? So I find that men can be a little bit lost, maybe
I
a little
think
bit
that the belief system has
emasculated
been
also, diba?
toxic. Yeah. Mm,
Diba? Emasculated also in that sense. Because
yeah.
for once, the male species is unsure of their role in this whole situation, and then what's that feminist movement, the feminist movement, well, it gives some equality of opportunity. That's good, but there are
Mm,
some people who take it a bit too far, and the men are trying to figure out their place in all of this thing. So it can be
yeah.
quite difficult for men. It can be quite difficult for men in this day and age, no. If I were to talk to my younger self again, no, this is the way because I approach it. Is
Mm,
I think now in this day and age, you cannot be everything. You cannot be the provider of 100%.
for sure.
Besides, there's so much to provide other than cash and
Yeah.
income and resources. There's the
Yeah.
time, there's the attention, there's the wisdom, the teaching, and I think what's wonderful about this time is that the man and the men, all the women, depending on what your partner is, whatever gender they are, um, it's a good time for people to actually work together to make something beautiful out of a relationship that's more than just kilig and romance and pa-cute, diba? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I feel about it, and it took me 40 years to figure that out.
Well, at least now you can pass on that little chunk of wisdom to your kids,
I
and they
know,
don't have
man.
to
I
follow
know, for
that
sure.
same
I
way
know,
of
I know.
thinking. Because yeah,
Madaming
you're right. Like,
30-year-old, madaming 30-year-olds dyan, tsaka 40-year-olds, binata pa rin eh.
for sure. Oh my gosh, I will give you a list.
Oh my God.
I really like
No,
what you said about yung parang you mentioned about like creating a real partnership that's based on the essence of being life partners, diba? And that's why like I love what Kathy sent, the wabi
Uh-huh.
sabi, which is the Japanese art of restoring things together. And in terms of
Yes.
relationships, it's such a
loving
like
imperfection. Yeah.
yes, it's loving imperfections and seeing it as in its beauty. So for the people that are listening, in Japan, like they have these broken pots and porcelain stuff. They put that together and they seal it with gold. So the
Mhm.
piece becomes whole again, but now it's a unique thing because through the gold cracks you see the history of, well, because it came from a fall and whatever, but now it's restored. And I think that's such a beautiful thing that people should start being aware of. Like, there can be a lot of joy and fulfillment in embracing somebody else's flaws, not just your own, but somebody else's.
Yeah.
And I think it does begin with self love and self respect. You gotta embrace your own unique self before you can completely embrace somebody else's, and vice versa.
Mhm.
So it's hard to be again aligned with somebody that's at the same
Yeah.
maturity level, the same intelligence emotionally with you.
Mm.
So I feel like people are always finding, I want to find that person and this person that's right for me,
We
blah
have
blah
a
blah.
tick
Well,
list.
yeah, like why
Yeah, we have
can't
a
well,
checklist of like who.
exactly, but what if you guys grow and do it together? I think that's
Mm.
beautiful. I think that's super nice.
Yeah. Well, I
Oh,
think then because all of these ideas of like the ideal like mate,
Right.
it's been so distorted. We grew up on Disney, and even before that, there is the idea of of romanticism that we were taught that is just so unattainable. Back in the day, marriage was made out of it was more of a business deal, right? Like, okay, you have a piece of land, I have cows, let's get your son and my daughter together and they could share that, whatever. And then, that was how marriages were arranged back in the day. And then, producing kids, that just became kind of part and parcel of the process until sometime around the French Revolution, where, all these like romantics and poets and writers kind of wanted to make love the forefront of marriage, right? And being in a relationship, and they put in these ridiculous, like you can read any like Jane Austen novel, right? Or you can look at freaking Twilight, and
ay.
just see how ridiculous the standards are about. Like, usually it's like a young girl, young guy. Most of the time the girl doesn't even have a job, she just kind of like waits at home for this guy to come in and sweep her off her feet. Romeo and Juliet, there is this this passionate romance that happens, and that's not sustainable, right? Like, you can't have that
Mahilig
passionate
Pinoy dyan.
romance.
Mahilig ang Pinoy dyan.
Yeah, right. Like, you
Oo
have
nga.
that passionate romance for the first couple of months, and then it fizzles out because that's just how we are. And then what? Right? And Romeo and Juliet, they both died. Like, they only spent like a month together, which is why it was so freaking passionate.
That's
But
fucked up. That's fucked up.
right. But these are the notions that, like, we kind of grew up with. And like, you watch Disney, and it's always like that, like, somebody is going to save me one of these days, etc., etc. And the notion is just, it's completely ridiculous, especially in this day and age, which is why I want to go back to like Rika's, she mentioned like the whole wabi sabi, in this day and age of like everything is digital, like everyone is a swipe away. It is, we have this idea of perfection in our heads that if they're not
Ay,
perfect, I'm
wala,
just gonna
wala.
swipe. I'm just gonna swipe left. Thanks for the good time, but I found that an imperfection there, so I don't want you. I'm going to wait for the next one. And the lovely thing about the concept of wabi sabi and bringing it into relationships is challenging yourself to look at this person that you chose and appreciate them for everything, the good side, but the parts that annoy you as well. So like, if they snore really loud at night, how can you appreciate that? Right? Like if they tend to like chew with their mouth open, which for me is a pet peeve. Like how can you love that? Right? And like a good tip that I love to give clients is, imagine if you like, if the guy like really snores super loud, or if like the wife likes to nag a lot, imagine yourself in bed and it's quiet. There is no snoring next to you. What does that mean? And I think it's
Empty.
wonderful.
What is it?
What?
What is
It
it?
means that like your partner, your spouse isn't there.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
that's how you know that they're next to
Empty.
you, because they're annoying you with the snoring.
It's empty. It's empty. Exactly.
Right? So like, that's the concept of wabi sabi, taking something that usually annoys you and then telling yourself, how can I appreciate this? Like if your partner likes to chew with his mouth open, how the hell can I appreciate that? Right? And for me, I'm like, okay, just seeing him and being annoyed, I can still be grateful that he's in my life. This is my partner and I can be annoyed at him.
Yeah,
Does
for
that make
Yeah.
sure.
sense?
No,
Yeah.
it makes totally sense though. And if I may add, this whole life that we're in, it's a journey. It's a
It is.
journey of it starts in our mind. That's why I love the name of our podcast, Mindset
Right?
Matters.
Yeah.
Everything starts there, diba? So the journey starts with how you see your journey, how you see your life. Starts all
Mm,
here. What's your idea of it? Is it actually
yeah.
worth pursuing or not? Is it a waste of time? Or are you in automatic mode, drone mode, that you actually don't know what's going on and you don't have charge of your life? Diba? So that journey starts in the mind. And eventually, syempre, I think the reason why we wanted originally, no, as human beings way back when, is the man to provide. Syempre, there has to be some safety and stability. But in this
Yeah.
day and age, like for example, what I'm going through, my gosh, it's so difficult
Mm,
with the business, diba? I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. No, I'm not just talking about men and women too. They're going through a lot of chaos right now. So what happens if
sure.
you can't what happens if you cannot provide these material
Yeah.
things, resources, and cash?
Mm,
Then it's a question of stability and resilience. The things that we've been talking about in this podcast since
yeah.
since it started,
In
diba?
fact, what
Because
happens when the marriage of convenience isn't convenient anymore?
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
convenient anymore, especially in this day and age when anyone can, anytime, anything can get sick, something
Yeah.
can explode in your neighborhood or whatever, and an entire world can go on pause for one whole year. Diba?
Yeah.
Nothing is convenient, nothing is set. And you know
Yeah.
what? I'm going to be very careful with what I'm saying, no. But this crisis probably came at a time when human beings were too comfortable with the status quo,
That's true.
if I can say it. Huh?
Yeah.
We already knew that we were killing our planet. We still did it, no problem. Plastic dito, pollution doon, diba? Walang problema. But now that this came in, it forces us to think a lot. The journey of life is difficult.
Yeah.
How many times do you see? Uh, we keep quiet, Biggsy. How many times do you see people who regret what they didn't do in life?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm,
So understanding that life is a journey, you have to approach a relationship as such a valuable thing where you share a journey, and not only that, your journey opens up to the journey of the person you're with.
Yeah.
yes.
So
Agree.
it's such a profound thing that you gotta take care of it. My
Mm.
gosh, if I saw my younger self, I would just slap myself on the head talaga, di ba? It's like, I got the worst advice growing up, di ba? Yung parang, di ba? Yeah, chicks ka na ng chicks, di ba? Whatever, di ba?
Mm.
What makes a man is your chicks. Ulul! Like,
Oh, lol.
it's so wrong. My
That's
gosh, di ba? There's, you have to be stable in this journey and contribute to the journey of your partner.
yeah.
So that's when it becomes beautiful. It's when you guys are in this journey together of a difficult world, but making the most beauty out of it, good times and through the bad times too.
For sure. Like, I think, I believe like the quality of our relationships, it's the quality of our relationships that determines the quality of our lives as well. And like who we actually are is a combination of like how we see ourselves and how others see us, which is why
Right.
I think, like really being picky about who you allow into your space and into your inner sanctum, is really important as well. So like Rob said, like he got the worst advice because his inner sanctum at the time was probably a load of frat boys. Um, but but like being able to change that now. Another thing is that I find really interesting with relationships as well, especially with COVID and everybody being stuck indoors. Like people are kind of rediscovering their partners. They're rediscovering the relationships that they have with their partners simply because I guess like the past, couple of years, everybody's been on autopilot, right? Like, work, 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 everything was so transactional. But now that we have this long pause and everybody has to stay at home, people are starting to discover that, oh, you know what, this isn't the same person that I married 10 years ago,
Mhm.
or like my son or daughter, doesn't like the things that I thought that they like, like a couple of years back. So it's pretty interesting how this long pause has really made us take stock of the relationships that we have, especially our immediate ones. And I noticed that people either really appreciate the growth or they become really resentful because that person, I guess, like didn't grow enough. So like who you are when you got married at 25, is still the same person that you met that's now 35, but you've kind of upgraded yourself, and just kind of seeing that stark difference, builds a lot of resentment for people.
Yeah.
Does
Yes.
that make sense? You guys are like super
Sure.
quiet.
Oh, no, no, no. We're listening.
Listening,
Question.
learning.
Mm,
Question.
yeah.
Fire
Does
away.
age matter? Does age matter?
Age.
Yes, for
Okay.
ladies, come on. Would you date a guy who's would if you're there's this formula half your age plus seven. That's Have you ever heard of that?
No. Is that
This
a
is
I
real
your
thing?
formula.
This is a formula that guys know it. The youngest
Hmm.
woman they say that you can date is half your age plus seven. So if you're
Half my
50,
age.
if you're 50, it's 25
So
plus 7, 32 and
25.
above. No?
I
What do
don't
you
believe that. Like, honestly, I think
think
emotional
about
maturity is more important than age.
Right.
Like I can have the best conversations with a 25-year-old and the shallowest with a 50-year-old. Doesn't
Okay.
really matter
Okay,
for
okay.
me.
Let me add some more spice to the question.
Okay.
What if you had this profound mind melding, visionary conversation with an older man?
Mm,
Okay.
Well,
Okay,
it
no,
would.
wait. Not yet finished. Not yet finished.
okay.
So you're dating
Okay.
this older man who blows you away. It's like, oh my gosh, your mind just explodes. But you're also dating this young, stupid stud who just can go multiple rounds in bed. So come on. We gotta go to sex. We have to go to sex.
Okay. Yeah. Well, one
So,
for me would be pandek or sakama, and then the other one would probably be the long-term relationship.
ano nangyari sa trust doon? Sabi nyo kanina, trust. You have to choose
Well,
one.
you asked if there were both, so this is what would happen to the other one,
I know, but you
and then
gotta
the
choose
other one
one
would have to be in
eventually. You gotta choose one.
Honestly, I wouldn't be attracted to the stupid stud. Like, let's be honest.
You'll be
Oh my
attracted to the stupid
goodness.
I
stud.
would glaze over.
I would
Sorry, would
train
you?
the stupid stud to be like the old man.
There's the fixer Enrica coming out. You're good
Oh,
with
yeah,
Because they say that women train their men. Oh,
yeah.
diba? So
that's
I can
necessary.
win.
The stupid stud and the wise old man.
Yeah, I'd be pretty old of it.
Yeah. No, but it's crucial because men, by historical standards, have tried to go for younger women, and there's even this terrible movement now. I think there's this movement in the States that's trying
It's
to
called
make
porn.
pedophilia. No, this pedophilia. They're trying to make it a sexual
Yeah.
preference.
Oh yeah, that's so
Really?
messed up.
It's
What?
kalokohan. Yes, it's in the States. They're applying that since
I
there's
heard.
gender preference, there's age preference na rin.
Yeah.
Ala, pare. Kalokohan
Wala.
talaga.
Messed up yan.
It's fucked
Yeah.
up.
Like
Fucked up.
consent and awareness and ano, like no.
That's crazy. I can't
Yeah.
even go there.
I know, but sige, that's too much for our conversation today.
No, but let's go back to the sex topic because that was interesting.
Let's
Because
go back to the sex topic. Sige, sige.
the top two things that couples usually fight about is sex and money, right? Like
Yep.
those are the two main things. That's why people cheat. That's why infidelity is a thing. Back in the day, monogamy used to be one person for life. Now monogamy is one person at a time. Like that's how we've changed the word,
Oh
right?
God.
So
That's
yeah,
horrible.
because
Alam mo,
like honestly,
kasalanan ng Instagram yan eh. Kasalanan ng Instagram yan.
bakit
Tama.
naman kasalanan ng Instagram yan? What have you been looking on Instagram that you're blaming Instagram, Rob?
Tapos TikTok pa ngayon. My gosh. TikTok.
Oh my gosh. Guess who's on TikTok now?
Oh, is Rob on TikTok already? Oh my god.
Yep. But I have yet to post.
He's just stalking. He's stalking all those
I'm
whatever
trying to
that is.
figure out how it works.
Oh my God.
Oh, game
Ah,
sex.
Game na, game.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of men I think would be very interested because men like to be studs no matter what their age are. You know what I mean?
Well,
that
and
true
sex
for all
really
men?
is important in any relationship.
In some aspects, the men like to be perceived as the baby. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
any advice, ladies, to the men out there?
Stop watching porn.
Because
That's the advice. Just at least for me, just because it sets such unrealistic standards for women. Number one. Number
not
two.
everyone can have double-digit penis sizes, right?
Yeah, but still, like crazy expectations, especially for the women. I believe, because it's mostly men that watch it. A lot of women watch it too, but it's mostly men. Number two, like you start objectifying women, and you start looking at women as things, not as human beings, right? And for me, like it just gets to a point. Right. Like for me, like it just gets to a point where it's ridiculous. Like men, they contort women into these ridiculous positions just because it looks good for the camera. But it's probably painful for the woman. But that's what the guy wants because like that's what he's been watching, and that's how a lot of people are educated when it comes to sex. Right? Your first education isn't through your mom or your dad and telling you like, oh, like this it's a wonderful, beautiful act. It's porn.
Yeah, porn is
me, it's just really sad as well.
It's addicting too.
Yeah. Like especially like when you're a hormonal 18-year-old, like that's all you think about. But then, watching it, you kind of learn not to treat women with respect. Number one. Number two, you don't learn to ask women what they want. I had a conversation about consent with a friend, and like she used to dating a lot of Filipinos, and then she dated this white guy, and she was so surprised that at every like level the guy would ask permission. and she kind of like she felt that, oh my God, like, oh, can I kiss you? Can I take your shirt off? Can I do this? And
Wow.
she felt, and
Did
that's
accept.
not what people are taught, because that the
Yeah,
guy was basically allowing her, if you want to back out of this, like, here's your chance. Are
Mhm.
you not comfortable? Here's your chance. Here's your chance. And for me, I mean, that's something that I would really want to have conversations around.
yeah,
Like, sex is a beautiful thing, but like, the way that people kind of go about it now, it's just so transactional. And I
that's
find
true.
that really sad. I find that
Oh,
really, really sad.
yeah,
That is
yeah,
really
yeah.
sad. I
Yeah.
agree. I
That's
can't even
true.
say anything about it. I feel like you know how when young boys get introduced to porn by, I don't know, their titos or
Friends,
whoever, friends,
friends.
or they
Friends,
discover it themselves. It's kind of like, how come young boys get exposed to that and then it's the little girls that get exposed to Disney? So it's super
mm,
contrasting. So we
no,
think
it
that
actually works
men,
Yeah,
well together in a very toxic way.
right, it's like two pieces of a horrible jigsaw puzzle, and
true,
Yeah.
true.
it's just messed up at such a young age. It's like, wow, you can see that, okay, young girls think that they need to be saved by this amazing guy, and the
Prince
guys are just
Charming.
like, you're
Prince
just,
Charming.
yeah, you're just a
Yeah,
thing for the bed.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
and
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
women's self-worth, it's like such a journey. Like, women go through so much pain to just, and they keep asking themselves, like, what's wrong with me, what's wrong with me, what's wrong with me, and that lasts like sometimes a lifetime. It's so painful to watch women that are already old and they still feel like they aren't as valuable or worth,
True.
what they should have been,
Yeah, true,
all
true.
because of how men were raised, or the absence of raising a man to be a man, kind of thing.
True,
Yeah, I
true.
feel
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
mm,
Porn's dangerous. I think it's that's why that's why I love this podcast. It's up to our generation to kind of the generation now is always a part of the guidance of the next generation that's to come.
Yeah.
Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, there are generations that have led by terrible example.
yeah.
Um,
But
but
that's
I
how we
think
learn. Like a terrible
but that's
example,
how we
right?
learn. But that's how we learn. Yeah.
Yeah.
However, if you're responsible in the sense that, and this is what I think it means, not only to be a man, no, but also to be a woman who's bootylicious. This is what I say is bootylicious. You
Okay.
understand, you understand your influence, not just in your area, but also in other
Mm,
people, diba?
yeah.
And you're not forceful of your ideas, but you do want to create some influence that's hopefully positive.
Mm,
And for me, if I can go back, no, a person that understands where they are, their their what you call this, their you're fragile. Your what's that word? Starts with an S. Parang you can be hurt.
Vulnerable.
V pala.
I was like, what S starts with?
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So as long as everyone's vulnerable anyway, but then it's through the vulnerability that you learn about your strength, your resilience, and
For sure.
I think that's why it's very important. And for me, that's what makes a man.
Mm,
Um, and also a woman,
mm,
someone that builds other people up, not
yeah.
someone that tears people down,
Mm,
because that's
Right.
what you call a bully, diba? So
mm-hmm.
now, for example, I have two kids. One is 9 and one is 6. I pay very much attention to the way that they talk to each other. I'm okay that they disagree in some things and that they fight, but I'm very aware when they intentionally try to degrade the other person, make them lower than they are. So
Yeah.
I explain how dangerous that is and what the
Mm,
alternative is, diba? So I
yeah.
think as human beings, we need to do that. And kunyari, usapang politics, diba? Because we're so not used to doing that. Kaya nagkakagulo tayo ngayon dito sa COVID. Hindi siya maayos-ayos. Because we're not used to taking care of other people. It's
Yeah.
always
Yes.
ourselves. Tayo na lang. Puta, PhilHealth now stole 15 billion according to the news,
Yes.
diba?
It's
Come on.
crazy.
That's fucked up.
But yeah. But the head still isn't gonna lose his job because it's not proven.
Yep.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But I think like going back to your conversations like with the kids and how they integrate from a coaching point of view, I think it's also important like before you lecture them to ask them who taught you that,
Sorry, what?
because who asking your kids like who taught you that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like a
YouTube.
lot of the times, like they just pick it up. So being able to
Right.
like identify like where they kind of learn that behavior from, and then correcting them will at least
Yeah.
they can identify it and go, okay, this isn't good for me, you know.
True. True.
And yeah,
True.
how did we get to this
But
conversation? We were talking about sex.
yeah,
Wrong.
yeah.
Sex
But
is everything. It leads
before
to
we go back to
everything.
sex, that's why I encourage, I encourage anyone with a good heart and a good mind to create content like what we're trying to do. But it's so easy
Yeah.
to get attention dancing sexily, showing cleavage, and censoring your private parts. But what good is that really doing humanity? And that makes up for
Kanya-kanyang
80%.
journey lang yan.
Hindi, pero that makes up for 80% of the content online. It's like what you said. So many people are negative. Diba?
That's not
And
exactly negative though.
no. I'm saying is parang there's no. Sorry, forgive me. I'll explain. No, what I'm trying to
Okay.
say is like try to do content that really uplifts. Because the ones that create the most likes for some reason, and I know that's they studied it already, are the ones that are provocative and stuff like that. And that's why as a parent, I'm very guarded of what my kids see on social media. It creates automatons that are built for maliciousness,
Well,
sexiness.
like what social media is today was basically advertising like 10, 20 years ago. Sex sells. And
Sex
if you
sells.
are a young 20-year-old who is like looking for attention because you can't get it at home, that's where you're going to go. You find friends and validation online, and I think that's a whole other topic. But
Yeah,
yeah, like it really goes down to self-worth, and you're going to realize a lot of the people who do this are also some of the most lonely, miserable people. And they just want that community, and if that's where they can find it, that's where they're going to go. So for me, it really is. I appreciate the journey. Like I will
yeah.
watch the journey and I will appreciate it for what that is, but I will choose differently.
Okay. Sex
So
sells. Totoo yan.
yeah, yeah. And like just going back to that conversation as well about sex, especially for the women, because yeah, we were raised on Disney and we were raised to please, do anything to make you happy, basically.
Is that really
And
how
it
women are raised? Is that how women are raised?
yeah, Rick's backing up.
Well,
This is the first time I'm
na
hearing.
parang na guys should do everything to please the
No,
woman,
no, no, no,
ganyan.
no. Parang the women are on Disney and guys are raised on porn.
No
Terrible.
naman, but it's kind of
What a
sad
disconnect. Like,
the no naman, but you can kind of like say na generally like little girls are watching Disney stuff, and I wouldn't say like
Mm,
boys are all watching porn, but they find ways to see it, and even just a
yeah.
glimpse of an image of something is already like a seed in somebody's head.
Yep,
Now,
yep, yep.
okay, that's the image, that's my first impression and my
mhm.
introduction to what sex is, and that's it, and that
That goes
stays
into the
on
boom JPEG.
forever.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Exactly. So, and for girls, I mean, I don't know any girls really that look for the porn stuff. I don't think it's in us to. Do we do that? I never did that.
No, no, no. But I have to have that conversation very soon with my boys. My eldest.
Yeah, you're getting well. Matagal-tagal pa. I mean, they haven't hit the double
Hindi
digits
yan eh.
yet, so you're kind of good.
Hindi yan eh. My classmates
No.
introduced me to porn at grade 3. Oh, tangina.
Oh
Oh,
my
seriously?
goodness, so
Yep.
young, baby Rob.
That must have made you like really confused. Like, what's going on? What is that?
I
What
know,
is that?
right? Yeah, that's why I'm gonna ask your advice, Rika, how you approached it, what you suggest, since you have
Oh yeah, let's
teenagers
talk
now.
about that now. Yeah.
Well, I talk to my boys every day, and a part of that day, a part of that conversation is dedicated to relationships because,
Mm,
yeah, it's my struggles as a single mom and whatever. And right now, like, I'm patching things up with their dad. We're trying to be friends for the sake
yay,
of the kids, and
co-parenting.
yeah, and it's good. It's good. I feel like it's a good thing. It's a step forward, no?
For
But
sure.
annulement's still going on and whatever. But the point is that I think through my experiences and overcoming them, so teaching them from a place of, okay, I'm a victor, I'm a winner, because I'm not teaching you and talking to you about this being the sour person. Like, I'm
Mm,
really teaching you about life, and
yeah.
about being single, and what, like, how I want to be treated by a man. That's
Mm,
what they see firsthand, just watching my emotions, like when I speak to them about it, because they see me cry. And like with my ex-boyfriend who did something behind my back, like, I really cried to them because they are the ones there for me. And even if they are my sons, I think seeing like their mom go through it teaches them
yeah.
already a lot. Na
Yeah.
Oh,
parang,
for sure.
shoot, like, I would
Huge
never do
teaching.
that. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think teaching them through, using the right words, being careful, but also being realistic and not being too careful to sugarcoat things. Because if you sugarcoat things, what's gonna happen when they're big na, diba?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They gotta know the truth.
Big
They gotta know the
children.
think, yeah,
Yeah.
and
I
they
think, I
gotta
think
know
that
that it's okay.
I think that's interesting. Like our parents talaga are the ones that really taught us about relationships, especially romantic relationships, whether we realize it or not. Like my dad wasn't the best husband, I'll be honest. Like, he was like, left, right, and center, like me babae. Every freaking port of call, like he had somebody. But he was a good dad. And
Mm.
I think like just me being able to just take that in, like him as a human being and being able to appreciate that, I think also kind of made me take stock of like the relationships that I would get into. So like for me personally, like if I kind of see my dad, like, like in this guy that I'm dating, like that's a sign for me to like go home. Because I am not going to repeat that
Yeah.
cycle. Like I know where that's going, I know where that's headed towards. And, I do not want to, I do not want to go through that. Um, so yeah, I think also like in terms of choosing a partner, our parents are also like super, really have that influence because whether we realize it or not, subconsciously, we go through the people who we kind of find that similar pain in. So like if my mom treated me this way, subconsciously, I'm going to go for a woman that treats me the same.
Mm.
Or like if my dad has treated me this way and I don't have that level of self-awareness, I'm going to go for somebody who acts like my dad, because for me that's what I feel love looks like. Nobody has really taught us what love looks like.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like, I was
Yeah.
asking my boys just recently. I was like, guys, do you guys talk to girls, during this ECQ thing? Like, what's going on with you guys?
Oh,
And
fishing.
yeah, fishing. And I'm like, basta, you have to tell me, huh? And then they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll tell you. So far naman, wala, parang friends lang. But I was like, okay, what's your type ba? Can you like tell me nga, like, what do you find attractive? Hello, he's
Huh.
16, pwede na, di ba?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
pwede, pwede
you
na
know what
yan.
he said? He said, I need to be with somebody that I can have the exact conversations I have with you, mom. And I'm like,
Wow.
okay, what do you mean? He's like, I
Oh,
want to be able to. He's like, I want to be able to talk about life and to be able to talk about things like meditation and the power of awareness. That's what he said to me. I was like,
oh my god.
seriously? I'm like, I wanted to cry. I'm like, oh my god, he's a man, a
Yeah,
good
I
man.
love
Yeah.
that self-awareness. Oh my god.
And I was like, but yeah, and like, what about like the looks? He's like, I really don't know what type. I like in terms of looks, but all I know is that the girl needs to have a good head on her shoulders, and she should be able to keep up with the conversations that are interesting, like what we talk
Yeah.
about, Mom. And I was just like, damn.
Oh,
Great.
I love that he's already like super aware of his values, and
Yeah,
that like he's already mindful that this is what I want in a partner. And it's
yeah,
not like just because she's the most popular girl at school, or just because like she's like the cutest or whatever. That's
right.
amazing.
He plays wingman kasi to his classmates. He's always the wingman, and the girls are pretty and they're cute, but yun nga eh, pag nagsasalita, ang babaw. So, nata-turn off siya. And I'm like, wow, yan, sometimes you gotta give the girl a chance then, sometimes they just gotta grow up, whatever.
They need
So, I'm like,
time to
oh,
mature. Yeah, they're
Ayun.
still young girls.
What about you, Rob? Like you have babies, pa? Like, do they talk about
Baby.
girls or
No, not
no?
yet, not yet. But I think I need to prepare myself for.
They're more into Minecraft pa rin.
Yeah, but I need to prepare myself for it soon. I mean, syempre, they live in a co-ed. They have a co-ed community at school.
I think that's
Um,
better though, because like I have friends who like grew up like all girls, and it's
yes, yes,
hindered
yes.
them from socializing.
And the internet is very dangerous. You don't know when one link can lead to porn. You
That's
gotta.
true.
I need to really. This conversation really helped. But,
Oh, is
oh,
that
echo,
Rita?
echo, echo. Wasn't me. Yeah. No, this conversation helped. No, but yeah. Any advice on no, how to treat these young men? And my gosh, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'll try my best. I think
Well, the good
the
thing
advice
is
that I'll
like
give
you
them is
kind
they
of
have to
went
be.
through it yourself, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah. I
basically
mean,
like how would you talk to your younger self about the topic of girls and
well, well,
relationships?
I think the way that I speak to my kids, no matter what, is we have a debate. We have a debate. I don't discount their ideas and tell them that it's wrong because they're younger. I have to be able to rise above their questioning and explain it in such a
Mhm.
way that they can understand. And so I have to talk to them as adults. I try to articulate my point. And
Yeah.
the funny thing is, here's one
Mm.
example. My youngest kasi can be, he likes to argue with me and my mom.
Mm. Well,
So
he's a little rough. What do you expect?
he likes to argue about the ideas. But later on, when we're away, he does the ideas and he argues for the ideas to other people. So
Love
yeah,
that.
that's just his style. It's funny. It's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
So in that respect, I know that he listens. The older one, he thinks about things, but he tends to find the logic in things really quick. Diba? So yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see.
Like it sinks in. Like these conversations really sink in. And for me, like just as word, just as advice as well, is teaching your kids also like how to be physical, like using physical touch, without it feeling weird, especially the opposite sex.
True.
Like how do you hug your mom, or does your mom hug you? How does that feel like?
Yep.
I do this a lot with like teenage girls, and when it comes to learning about relationships with the opposite sex, we usually look to our mom and dad for that example.
Yep.
And a lot of girls that like I do pro bono work with coaching. A lot of the single teenage girls are the ones who grew up with dads who never really talked to them, who never really gave them a hug or kissed them or said I love you. And when they got to a certain age, hormones plus that, like they started looking for that somewhere else, and that led to teen pregnancies, that led to them being a single parent. And they had to grow up really quickly. And the core kind of wound that they had, that that they weren't able to heal, was getting that affection from their dad. And I think it's the same as well with boys. is, like with Rika and her teens, like if they get used to getting affection from, a woman and learning, oh, this is what it feels like, then they can pass on that same, that same reverence, that same gentleness with whoever it is that they get into a relationship with, because they know how they're supposed to act,
Right.
and they don't have to get it from other places, like like friends giving bad advice or porn.
Oh, let's talk about friend relationships, can we? Part ba yan dito
Yeah,
sa usapan natin?
of course.
Friend relationships.
Yeah, because
Oh,
What about
it's a
friend
relationship.
relationship?
No, nothing.
Yeah.
It's a relationship, diba? Um, Having a good set of friends is super important to your core, no?
For
definitely.
sure.
Any advice? All I know is you should the kinds of friends you want to make are the people who actually want the best for you.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's
simple.
kind of like
Very
you make
simple.
friends with people that are friends with your future. It's like where are they gonna really help you develop as a person? Are you gonna help them develop as well? I mean, it doesn't have to be like direct, diba? But what are you fostering in that friendship that can help you become a better person? And it doesn't have, you don't have to be a better person like everywhere, but maybe you can learn from that friend. I don't know, like on the financial side, the emotional side, like maybe you can have like a friend that's really into the physical fitness, and that friend pulls you up. So
Mm,
I think friend relationships are really important. Like personally, I was just talking to one of my other friends before this stream, and I was telling her, man, I have disconnected from the friends that I have that aren't, they're not quality anymore. You know that those
mm,
guys have kind of fallen off. And
Mhm.
nowadays, it's like I'd rather give quality time with selected friends who have equally selected me as part of their journey. Um,
yeah.
because it's more potent, It's like it's you can spend time together helping each other truly, instead na parang small talk here, small talk there, 100 chats with small talk here and there.
Yeah.
It's draining.
Mm.
Kayo.
What about you, Rob?
Huh? No, I don't know. I just experienced some lag in the internet.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. We kind of lagged a little bit, but we're back.
Okay.
Yeah. So you, friends.
Friends.
No, well, definitely no quality over quantity. And I'll say it again. It's just make friends with people who want the best for you.
Mm.
So go to for kids. Sometimes it's a popularity contest, no? The high school, grade school, college kids.
Yeah. Well, the fitting in kind of comes in with that. So yeah, that's
The
the
fitting
stage
in
for
comes in. I think it's good for learning and
it. Mm.
understanding these hierarchies in society. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe just don't take it too much to heart, no?
Yeah.
Mm. What about you, Rob? So like, what makes a relationship valuable to you?
What
Yummy.
relate?
Kailangan yummy. Sobrang yummy.
What?
Yummy.
Friendship, Rob.
A
Friendship.
friendship.
What makes
Your
a
friends have to
relationship
be young.
friendship valuable to you?
Oh. Pwede ba, is there such a thing as friends with benefits?
Oh God,
There
you
is,
want
as long as there's consent. Why? Is that what you want to teach your kids?
No, of course not. It's a reality that's going on now. How would you
It is.
negotiate that? Because some people, that's what they wanted. Friends with
That's true.
benefits.
I don't
Diba?
believe in that.
Me
Huh?
too. That's gonna go one way or another. For me,
Yeah,
like
that's tough. No? It's a
when it comes to
dangerous journey. It's a
it
perilous
is,
journey. Yeah, yeah.
because you can, like, if you value the friendship, you may lose the friend.
True.
So like
That's very well said.
what means more to you? I guess the friendship
Mm.
or the sex,
You
because
should
sex is
be very
sex.
you should be very careful who you have sex with.
I
Oh yeah.
agree, 100%, 100%. Especially
100%.
for women, especially for us women, and I love to explain this, like energetically, you
No,
know,
go.
energetically, you know, we literally allow somebody into us, you know, like that's energetic, like that means something, and we are basically allowing ourselves to, you know, like if that guy isn't self-aware, if he's a bit of an asshole, if he has all this baggage, you're basically allowing all this baggage into your space. And you know, a lot of the time, like, you know, if you do the one night stands, whatever, you kind of wake up the next day and you're like, why do I feel like I'm just so off? You know, I had a good time, but why do I feel so off? And a lot of the time it's because you allowed all of that crap into your space. So even if you put in all this work, you know, to educate yourself, to get to your next level, etc., but you know, you allow all this like low energy basura,
Mm.
you know, like through all these like one night stands or whatever, just because the person was hot, you know, it kind of diminishes all the effort.
Yeah, true.
You know, quit,
Quit slap.
right? So for me, like, it really is more about intimacy more than just sex. There has to be more to it. Otherwise, you know, it's what's the point?
True.
You know, it's just you getting off, and
Especially
then what?
in this day and age, number one, baka magka-COVID ka.
That's true.
Dude, even if it's a year from now, dude. Even if it's a year from now. But at least if you get COVID from someone that you actually want to spend the journey with, it makes it more okay.
God no.
Diba? No, you know what I'm saying, diba? There's STDs, there's disease. It's
Yeah.
part of sex. You have to talk about the disease. My gosh, it's so scary now.
It is
Diba?
scary.
There's so much disease out there, diba? Then there's COVID. So
Yeah.
parang I think a good rule for young boys, diba? If they're not wife material, wag na lang.
Kaya nga
Yeah.
I really believe
Diba?
that the guys need to, you know, they need to start thinking that being educated to be more manly. Like, come on, guys, you guys can learn this stuff. It's cool to learn more about being a man.
But I think it's also like how we were taught. And it's not just a guy thing. I mean, women are the same way. You know,
True.
there are women who are up for one night stands. They're cool with it. If you're hot, let's do it, whatever, right? But you know, I think it's also in this digital society of, you know, you get everything right away, that you know, we're so used to that. And you know, sex has become so transactional. You know, it's just kind of like swipe right, you're hot, I like you want to meet up, sure, whatever, right? Instead of really taking the time to see the person behind, you know, like behind that, getting to know them, getting to, you know, trying to find common ground, taking the time to develop that relationship. So you know, for me, I guess it depends, like, you know, what is your primary concern? If you just want to get off, there are people for that. If you want to develop, you know, a whole loving relationship.
Where are these people for that? Where are they located?
Which one?
Just kidding.
Tinawin on TikTok, Rob, on TikTok. They're on TikTok.
Delikado yan.
Hours lang yan sa TikTok.
Wala,
Yeah.
delikado yan, delikado.
So yeah, you know, we're almost to the bottom of the hour. I just kind of want to ask you.
Can I add in a juicy question?
Yeah.
Question? So we're
Yeah.
approaching our end. So what do you think is like dating now, from now on, COVID and onwards?
What do we think dating is gonna be like?
What's dating gonna be like? We can't go out. Tayo na. Pag momol kayo dyan sa ilalim ng puno, magka-COVID ka pa, di ba? Delikado.
That's interesting.
What are you gonna do? So, what do you think? How can we prepare ourselves for dating after magbo-Burmans na? Lumalamig
Yeah.
yung panahon.
The weather.
Sinong yayakap sa atin?
Wala.
What's dating like?
What?
All I know,
Your kids, my dog.
yeah. Ladies
No,
and gentlemen, just don't do anything that can be taken a screenshot of. That's all I know.
Oh, wow.
oh,
That's
for
good
sure.
advice. That's good
For
advice.
sure. Why did you
What?
fall into that trap accidentally?
No, but there's
Is
so
this
many
from
videos that
experience?
are. There's so many videos passed around the WhatsApp, the Viber, about these young men and women taking videos of themselves. Putang ina. And then now it's all out there for the world to
Hmm.
see. It's not a good thing, no?
Yeah.
So, uso ngayon ng Zoom.
I'm trying to figure out like how would that work? Like just that. Never mind. No,
You gotta be
We
careful.
gotta accept that right now because we can't meet each other. We just can't do it yet. I think it's a good opportunity to have better conversations to get to know a person in a more decent way. Like we have
yeah.
time, so maybe foster a relationship with somebody that you're interested in a more polite way that's not just sex
Yes.
sending stupid like
Dick
I think it's
pics.
a good chance to do that now that we have the time.
True,
I
true.
would embrace that. I think that's for me more attractive than the guys that are just like, hey, it's like, okay, you want to talk about that, but what are we gonna do? We can't go anywhere. So
Yeah.
what the hell?
So
Might as
a lot of people gotta work on their conversation skills because
Diba?
Oh, for sure.
dating is gonna
Communication.
look a lot like this podcast. Diba?
Exactly. It's all about
Yeah, no,
conversation.
Viber video call. Wala.
yeah. I super agree with Rika. I think this is a good time for people to just really take a pause and like assess. I think, like number one, like who are these people that I'm really attracted to? And is
Mm,
there more to them than just how they look?
Right.
Right.
okay.
And then taking that, I think like we're kind of reminded of the beauty of how it is to take things slow
Right.
because we're so used to this fast paced, like fast paced, get bored, move on to the next cycle, that this has really made us stop and reassess. Like, is this somebody that I want to talk to? Right? Or is this somebody that I want to have a conversation with? Like maganda, guwapo nga, pero I mean, alam mo yun, other than that, wala, pandekar ko lang sa kama. So, like what's the point? And I think that's also right. And I think this also really makes us seek out like meaningful relationships. And
Right.
I think like talking to you guys, like you guys are my tribe. It really kind of cements that, like if we can have these meaningful, beautiful conversations about topics that you would usually never touch because oh, it's taboo, oh, I don't want to talk about sex, etc. But we can turn it into this really like insightful episode. Then we should be able to do this for the other people in our lives as well. And if they can't contribute or if they have nothing to add to the conversation, then I think we should start thinking about, why are we letting these people into our space? Because you really are, the mean or the average of the 5 people that you hang around with. And, if all they're interested in is like the next K drama or, chismis or whatever, then, you really need to start reassessing, like who your friends are.
Yeah,
Totoo.
I agree.
Mm.
No, I agree.
That's why I love you guys.
Aw,
Likewise.
love you
Likewise.
too, babe. Mm.
And I
What about
enjoy
you,
our
Rob? You ask
Wednesday
the
nights.
question, you answer it.
I enjoy our Wednesday nights together.
Same. Super same.
I guess this is as close I'll get to as a threesome in my life.
You do know that your mom watches this, right?
I know.
You
But it's
know
a
that.
threesome of minds. I'm not, it's a
Right.
threesome of minds.
Linawin mo. Like,
I like that. A threesome.
And with more minds, the conversation gets deeper.
I do not
love
like that because I know Rob a little too well.
He doesn't mean what he's saying right now.
No, no, I don't. I'm just saying it for fun, for fun.
Yeah, Rob's a
Yes.
good egg. I don't know why people have like a wrong impression of you. Good egg. Anyways, yeah. So
It's because
please
I do a
answer.
lot of green jokes. I have a lot of green jokes in my arsenal.
I'm the same, but I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, answer your question.
Oh, which question again, madam?
What do
Your
you think
question
dating is
about
like?
About what?
what do you think dating is gonna look like? Like, post COVID or during.
Or-
Are
Honestly,
you dating? Yeah.
no, I'm not, and I should be.
You should be what?
I guess I
You should
should
be
be, but
dating.
no, I'm not dating. A lot of people think I date like nonstop. I think it's
Because
my
that's what
sense of
we keep
humor.
putting out there.
My sense of humor gets me in trouble. It's not for the faint of mind. No, but I think dating now is like this, like this.
Mm,
If I can be very specific, no, it might be slip into a DM and then eventually video online call, make a connection online, and
yeah.
before you meet, puta, may swab test yan.
Of course.
Kailangan, di ba? Kailangan may swab test. And since, if I may, since
Mm.
nag-invest na sa conversation, nag-invest na sa swab test, okay lang yung madami mangyari sa first date.
So this is where your hormones take over, apparently.
No, this is just my prophecy. This is just me predicting the future
Your
for everybody.
your personal
No,
prophecy.
for men out there, but be safe, dude. You gotta take a risk.
Yeah, that's
I'm
Mm.
sorry, but if you're gonna meet someone, dude, they gotta take a swab test, a rapid test, whatever. Hindi pwedeng mukha naman walang COVID to. Puta.
That's true. That's
Delikado
true. Oh,
yan.
no. So wait, so last question. That kind of brings us to another topic. Like, would you have sex on a first date?
Never. Never. Me? Never.
Yeah. Really? I'm
No, no.
surprised.
I'm too
I have.
cultured for that shit.
Oops.
Oh, but sorry, just kidding. But may I say, okay?
May
Can I,
power.
since nagbayad ka na, nag-swab test na kayo, you already had
Mm.
so much video conferences. Dapat yung first date, malati pong Tagaytay for the weekend. Para mahaba yung date.
mahaba yung date. Tapos,
Oh, so
I
the first
am
date,
kind
the
of
first
scared.
date,
Like,
the
whatever
first
he's
date,
gonna.
dapat wala. Gentlemen, it's like what you said. Can I
Yeah.
walk you to your door? Max, di ba? Can I kiss you? Can I untie your ponytail? Di ba?
Oh, make
Can
consent.
we repeat
Make consent.
But since you're out, lubos-lubusan yun na. Can I repeat this tomorrow and maybe be more adventurous?
wow, you're learning. He's learning.
You wanted to pencil it in. No, like I'm happy with that. Diba? Like,
I'm learning
dude,
from the girls. I'm learning from the girls.
I think that's something all men need to learn. Consent. It isn't romantic, like bigla ka nalang hahalikan. What if you don't like the guy? What if you're just being polite?
Alright. Saka yung kadiri dyan, yung mga, alam mo those guys who are sticky fingers, sticky hands?
Yeah.
Yeah, parang,
Super handsy na.
Yeah.
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 Oh
And
my
they seem to, and a lot of them fit into a demographic which I'm not going to name.
Oh, I know that demographic. There were a
Never
lot of those
mind.
guys at Assumption. Like
Diba?
really
Diba?
nice.
Ay, kamusta? Nice to meet you, pero may kasamang ganyan, no? Nice to meet
Yeah.
you.
Oh, creeps.
Beso a bit too long, but yeah. So before we wrap this up, guys, I just kind of want to pick your brains. Like, what is your biggest learning with this entire episode?
Our biggest learning or takeaway. Well,
Yeah.
if I may, I think it's that every day is a chance to discover and learn something new, really. I mean, I've learned a lot from you guys today. Before coming on the show, I had my own opinions, my own notes in my head, and my own experiences that I wanted to share, which didn't even end up making it across the screen because, right away before coming on, I watched another video about romanticism, and it changed my views right away. So it's like every moment is a chance to relearn, rediscover, and self-inquire. And I think that's my biggest takeaway from today. It's that we all have a chance to be better lovers, better partners, better people that love ourselves. So it's like we also are interested in having a relationship with ourselves too, like a good, healthy one. And that, I think conversations like this, especially for singles my age, I think it's important because it brings us back to kind of like, okay, you know what? It's okay. It's great to be single. It's great to be in this time wherein we're not in the fast lane. We're not swiping. We don't have the pressure na parang, okay, date tapos you're gonna sleep with the person kaagad or what. So yeah, perception and seeing things the best light na lang, diba? What can we do?
Yeah, that makes sense. What about you, Rob?
Well, for me, I believe that relationships are a journey. And in this journey, it's very naive to think that everything will be good. So don't avoid that. It's too cynical to believe that everything will be bad. So avoid being too cynical also and believe that everything will be bad. And when things get ugly, I think try to find perspective and knowing that a good journey of a relationship with other people is, I think it's the right balance, no? You don't want to be too kind or you become a pushover.
Yeah.
Don't allow your partner, friends, whoever's in your relationship with, to be too tough, where things get too cynical. It's good to stay in the mid. It's good to stay in a balanced state, and if you can find peace and harmony for majority of your days, or whether it's triumph over adversity, that's good also, because especially now, no, times are hard. I just hope and pray that to find the right person, you also have to be the right person first. So that's my learning.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like rather than hoping that, the other person would change, we should be the ones to change ourselves. And I think like my kind of takeaway from that is there is this like the Greek version of how they interpret love is it isn't like two halves coming together to form a whole. It's two imperfect people journeying together and kind of helping them, get to their next level or overcome, what they feel their imperfections are. And that's like the journey. I will be there to love you and also to help you become a better person. And I think with all relationships, like that's pretty valid. I used to believe that when like you love someone, when you're in a relationship, you have to love them unconditionally. And that's something that we were taught, right? That no matter what, I have to love you. And I realized that that really is a setup for failure. So instead of me loving you unconditionally, all I can do is love myself unconditionally and then hope that, that love teaches you. And if we can get on the same level, then maybe we can journey together.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That makes
Super.
sense.
Super.
I love that. That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Journey
yeah.
together with a partner. I think I would love that.
Right? And just having somebody like, okay, like I know you're not perfect. I'm not perfect either. This is something that I feel that you can work on. And what do you think I need to work on? And let's do it together. and then you become better people at the end of the day. So yeah, well, that's our talk on relationships and romanticism. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did talking about it for over 90 minutes.
Thank you,
If,
Eric. Thank you, Nick. Manolo,
yeah,
thank you.
thank you so much, guys, for those who stayed
Salamat.
till the end. If you guys want to reach me, you can reach me at coachinghappiness.ph. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I will be on Kumu tomorrow to continue this conversation. How about you, Rita?
Cool.
I'll be
talk
on
about-
Kumu on Saturday. So Saturday at 9 a.m. on Kumu.
Why am I not on Kumu?
Because you chose to be on TikTok first. No.
What's Kumu?
Well, Rob, you need to be. We'll get you on Kumu later. So, is there anything you want to plug? Bessa Food Hall, maybe?
Oh no, I just all I wish is that as a community of humans, we get through this freaking crisis better than when we started. I don't want to push anything. I just want us to be better than when we started, even if it's on a psychological mindset level, which is why I'm doing this podcast to begin with. And wonderful partners to have in this podcast. I really enjoy your conversations, Rika and Kathy. Thank you very much for brightening my Wednesday nights.
Oh, same here. Awesome. Okay, well, that's it, guys. Tune in again next Wednesday. We will have an exciting new topic for you. And yeah, please join in the conversation. In the meantime, stay safe, stay indoors, stay healthy. Bye, guys.
Bye.